Hi guys, we're going to go ahead and go over these practicing the sampling methods. And so those are all your convenience, voluntary response, and then your randomized ones. Simple random sample, cluster, stratify, systematic. Judgment might be in there also. And then census, of course, is where the sample is the population. Okay. So this was on the Google form, and you weren't allowed to go to the next problem until you got it right. But let's talk about why these answers are the right ones. Okay, so here was the situation. Number one, they had to log their opinion. So they had to take action to put themselves into the sample. So that's why it's voluntary response sampling method. Okay. Here on this one, they had all the elementary schools. And so they were kind of clustered by elementary schools. And the reason I knew is because when they selected that one, they did all. So, hey, cluster, you're a group. I will sample all of you. So then they did all of the parents, tried to contact all of them from that. That's cluster. Now, the next one I know is the stratifying. It's similar, but it's stratifying. And that's the reason I know it's stratifying is because um, they considered each elementary a strata and didn't just take all from one of them or from a few of them. They took some from every single one of the 20 elementary schools. So some of you and some of you and some of all of you. So stratify, homogeneous. Every single group is homogeneous, okay? And then I get some of you and some of all of you. So that's the stratified, okay? Now, next, again, this was a situation where they selected 10 of the schools, okay? And then they did all of the 10th graders. Oh, it should have been 5th graders at those schools, okay? So what that says is they are clusters because once they picked it, they sampled all of them, okay? But they did several elementary schools. It doesn't have to be just one cluster that's chosen. It could be several clusters, but the key is when you choose a cluster, you sample all of them, okay? All right, this one, let's see. So we had the inmates in the prison. And so what they did was they wanted to make sure that they got each type of crime in their sample. So they made homogeneous groups. They made the types, they were grouped by crime category. And I think it says here what those crime categories I guess it didn't say. It just says they grouped the inmates by the type of crime that they had committed. Okay. And so, you'd have the ones that were robbery and the ones that were homicide and then the ones that were, I don't know, whatever else. Okay. And so then they did a percentage of the whatever percent, if there was 68% homicide or robbery, then they selected 68% of the sample to be robbery, okay? And then 32% murder, then they selected 32% of their sample to be murder, okay? So they selected from each group, some of you and some of you. That's stratified. All right. Here is the one with simple random sample. They numbered the children 1 to 100. It's just like putting them all in a big bag, shaken well. The papers were shuffled, okay? All the children had an equal chance of being chosen. All samples of size 25 have an equal chance of being chosen. Simple random sample. Number 7, to ensure every 35th caller. So they did start at a random starting point, and then it's a systematic. Next 35th, next 35th, next 35th, next 35th, systematic. Okay. Here was one. So now we have this one. Let's see here. They got 42,000 surveys. So, or they got 12,500. So they had a lot of people respond. Okay. But guess what? These people were sending in their survey. So they had to take action to put themselves into the sample. Probably the ones that are proud of their salary or that kind of thing are going to take action and say, hey, I want to show off my salary and show that I'm being successful. So that was a voluntary response because they had to take action. All right, now these were the free response ones. So let's check these. These were fun. I got these off the internet and it was very interesting trying to figure them out. Okay. So they chose Shaggy, Fred, Scooby, Thelma, and Daphne. So I could tell that all of the ones from this group were chosen. So in my mind, then, that must mean these sections were clusters, and once they selected a random cluster, they sampled all of it. Hey, cluster, you're a group. I will sample all of you, okay? All right, so then the next one, they did, let's see here, who was it that was chosen? They did, okay, they started with Rachel, and then they did Susan, Zoe, Scooby, John, and Monica. So what I noticed is that they were kind of going through them. And so I counted. I was thinking, okay, they started with Rachel. And then let's see, the next one was Susan. So I counted 1, 2, 3. The fourth one was Susan. And then 1, 2, 3. The fourth one was Zoe. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth one was Scooby. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. The fourth one was John, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 we're back over here. And so we had Monica. Okay. So every fourth one, that's systematic. Okay. All right, let's see what the next one was here. Okay. Oh, Joey, Monica, Fred, Paul, Daphne. So I couldn't tell any rhyme or reason to who was chosen here. There were 2 from Friends, one of them from Scooby Doo, one from, so see, there was even a different amount. 2 from Friends, one from Scooby Doo, one from the Beatles, and uh, oh, actually, I guess there were 2 from Scooby Doo. So that means nobody from Sesame Street was chosen. Okay. So I could tell I got 2 from some of them, 1 from Scooby Doo, none from Sesame Street. So in my mind, that's just a simple random sample because every possible combination of choosing 5 is equally likely to happen. And the last one, they picked Shaggy, Fred. Okay, so what this told me is they picked 2 from each of the types of groups. 2 from Scooby Doo, 2 from the Beatles, 2 from Friends, and 2 from Sesame Street. So that was some of you and some of you and some of all of you. So that was stratified. Okay. All right. So I hope this explained the sampling methods that you guys worked on today.